YouTube, what is going on? It is Gino Bonino, and I'm still alive, believe it or not. Rumors of my death have been greatly exaggerated. I do apologize. Basically, guys, I had a hurricane. Not just me, it happened to actually my neighbors too. Had a hurricane, and it's been nonsense trying to get clean back up from it. Things from yards to roofs to trees to you name it. I mean, there's a million odds and ends. And to be honest with you, it has just taken up a lot of my time and whatnot. And also, my daughter started school and is in a different grade and all that. So I've just been trying to dedicate a lot of family time. But I'm kind of back. I've got my things organized. And that's another thing that was taking up a lot of time, was taking, in essence, two collections and merging them into one, into something that made sense. My whole goal is to make my comic book collection something where if I'd get hit by lightning, someone could come behind me and kind of know what's what and who's who and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, what you're looking at, you already know. This is a box from CGC. I sent what I call a three-prong submission to them, consisting of modern books and of kind of mid-tier stuff like Spider-Man 129. That fell into a different category. And then things like Silver Age, which was Fantastic Four 48 through 50. And all three of those fell into different categories. And I've noticed with CGC what they do is they do the modern books first, and that's what I just got back right there. The suspense is killing me. I want to open it, but I'm going to wait and do it when I'll do it on camera, since people seem to like blind box openings and stuff like that. Just to let you know, there's probably not going to be a lot of miracles in there. All my books that I send into them pretty much are read, unless there's something that, like I did with my Venoms, where I had a whole bunch of things that I took, and we're going to get into that later. But anyway, this is all stuff I read, I collected. So, and I'm the kind of collector, I don't have to have a 9.8. If you give me a near mint book, again, I know I'm old school, a 9.2, I'm perfectly happy with that. If it saves me some money, as far as I'm concerned, I'm good with that. I guess I go against the grain as far as that's concerned, but like I said, I don't have to have a 9.8 in order to feel like it's satisfied. Because pretty soon they're going to come up with 9.9s and 10s, which they're doing a lot. I've noticed that with the Batman Damned books, and people are going to start putting that as their new standard. So I think it's kind of silly, personally. I think that a near mint book is a near mint book, and we should probably try to promote that. What's happening, I've noticed with a lot of young collectors, is they're getting this mentality that it's 9.8 or nothing. And I think that's a bad precedent to set, because I don't think a lot of people are just, and I'm not saying this, for any other motivation other than I just think it's kind of silly. A near mint book is, hell, that's a damn good book. So I think we should be satisfied. But that's my rant for today. Anyway, this is my what I did. I think I talked about it before. I had two collections, one here, one that I moved here, and I had to merge them, and that's kind of what I got. This is, by the way, my press and shipping stuff. This consists of my big monster press. This thing weighs about 45 pounds, I kid you not. It's old school. God only knows how old this thing is. And I do have a book in it, as you can see. I'm flattening out something that I had a little ding on the cover, and boards and bags and all that. Also over here, these are what I call my Grail books. It's expanded since last videos. It's the way that I have this set up, and the concept of this is, in essence, if the house is on fire after you get the people out and the dogs out, and the cat, although that's kind of that's an optional thing. This is next. And what we got here is we have movie books. Things that tie in directly with upcoming movies, such as Spider-Man and Captain Marvel, things like that. And I kind of separate them into appearances and things that directly tie into that. And I've got Silver Age and a couple Golden Age books in there. And then I have things that I have a feeling are going to bubble up. I guess you could call these spec boxes. Speaking of the little shit, there she is. Anyway, that's what's in here. Things that aren't yet quite, things that I kind of have a feeling will be worth something, but aren't just yet to be, completely separated. And then I got stuff that I'm getting set to either list. There, look at, She stands up like a bear. Okay. Did you hear somebody? Anyway, these are books that I'm getting set to either list or sell and stuff like that. So that takes care of this room. We're going to move on to the other one. I'll explain what's up there, and I will talk to you and be back in about a minute. Okay, we are in a converted bedroom. That used to be a bedroom. Now it's just kind of a glorified comic book room. These have to get moved upstairs to my man cave, but I just haven't got around to that yet. I'm going to do that soon. Anyway, these are my single issue books. What happened is, if it's not a duplicate, it's just a common single issue book. It goes in here. There's, I think, 42 boxes of single issue books. Nothing too incredibly valuable. That stuff's out in the black boxes that you just saw. And this is stuff that needs to either be filed or things that I'm kind of pulled out for a reason. I'm going to take a look. For instance, I got a Dr. Solar or Solar Man of the Atom 10, which I'm kind of trying to determine if it's a 9.8, because if it is, it's worth a whole hell of a lot more than a 9.2, which kind of brings me back to what I was talking about earlier. And got a bunch of Spider-Man 2099s, which you probably know why this is out, and determining what to do with those, stuff like that. This is stuff that I've got to file. I'm sure we all have piles like that. Sad. And then I have a couple boxes of, I think I've showed this, action figures. A lot of Wildcat stuff. Unfortunately, never really took off, but I also have some Spawn and some Venom and things in there. And then these are just basically books that I call filler books, stuff that I can experiment with when I do pressing and stuff like that. Stuff that's probably would be typical quarter bin, 50-cent bin, stuff like that. But more important are, these are my, what I call key duplicates. So if you have a book, and I had more of them, like I mentioned before, I used to work conventions. And in doing so, you would buy a stack of books, put them on your table, as opposed to behind you, and people would come up and buy it. A good example would be like, let's see, what's kind of a semi-hot book right now. Let's say Hulk, Immortal Hulk 10. You'd buy 20, 30 of them, put a stack on your table, and that would be how people would get them, other than going to eBay or to the comic store, which was probably by then sold out, which it is now, by the way. Anyway, this is stuff which I have duplicates of, and again, this is key books, sort of keys, or first appearances, first issues. Hulk 2099. Never really did anything, and of course, the Death of Superman storyline or story arc. This is $4.97. We're in the A's, so we're $4.98. This never did anything, and I got a bunch of them, but there's some stuff in there that did pretty good. A couple books that I kind of, this is my Alpha Flight first and second print. I've got a few of those. Again, it was a really hot book at one time. And then just some second copies of Spider-Man books, nothing too amazing. Get it? Oh, there's Mysterio. Stuff like that I have duplicate copies of. Again, I just want to be able to. But this is kind of a nice pile here. This is Spider-Man 365. Of course, being the first preview of Spider-Man 2099. This kind of sat in obscurity for a long time, but it looks like these might be picking up a little bit of steam. I think I've got 18 of those, believe it or not. Again, there was a reason for it. There was a convention book. And then I've got a few Spider-Man 374s, which is kind of a not super hot book, but it's somewhat looked after. I think I got 4 or 5 of those. Let's see, 6. Archer and Armstrong, 0. Once again, it used to be, I know it's something to laugh at now, but those used to be actually, well, very sought after books. I'm sure there's a lesson there someplace, but again, the idea being just hang on to them for a while and see what happens. If Bloodshot hits, no one never knows. That's kind of a 183. Then we get into some Batman, the annual with the Joker on the cover, Death in the Family, And then I've got so many of these, it's embarrassing. I think this is second print because it doesn't have the little thing in front. This is $4.97. Speaking of which, if anybody needs one and you want it at a good price, let me know. I've got about, believe it or not, 100 copies of these. And they're all absolutely mint condition books. They have not been messed with, haven't been touched, haven't been opened. I read one, but don't need to read them all. Still a very good story, though. $4.98, $4.89, excuse me. A little dyslexia there. And 500. Got a few of those too. Talking about foil covers and double thick books. Then we've got Azrael. Looks like he's going to make a little comeback and be a foe, I guess. And this is the famous Frank Miller, where he didn't cross out or didn't redact the bad language, and it made it through. You can see through it. Sword of Azrael, and then I've got a few of those. Batman with the Bloodline storyline, and then I've got about 5 or 6 of these. The Shadow of the Bat. Then we're getting into Bloodshots. I know this again. Hopefully this issue takes off because I've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I've got about 18 of those. Used to be a hot book. $10 price on that. Bloodshot 6, which I think is Ninjak. Got about 20 of those. And then the other one that was kind of a notable was, I think this was, I forget what it was, First Somebody, number 7. Again, my memory is shot for the time being. And that is it for this box. So once again, if you see anything you like, guys, send me a private message. Mention it in the comments, whatever. I'll try to give you a good price if you see multiple stuff. Same goes to all the other things that I'm going to be showing. This one, again, I'm looking to move some of these. There's no reason to have 18 of them. All right, that's it for now. Again, the opening on the CGC is coming, as is the other key issue duplicate boxes down the pike. So thanks for watching, guys. Happy hunting. I will talk to you later. This is Gino Bonino, and I am out.